Alright there guys, thanks for tuning in again. This is Redtail Ray. Today is going to be an awesome do-it-yourself, my take on how to install a new sump pump in the homestead. We've had 2 floods so far due to a failed guide rod on an old pump, and then we also had a power outage where the sump pump didn't operate. So that got me searching last year for a backup battery sump pump. And looking at the local options, compared to having a professional install it, you know I'm a big do-it-yourself guy, I chose the basement Watchdog combo. That's where I'm at so far. I have not filled the battery yet, but I did pre-assemble and measured my 1 1/4 inch sump pump pipe that goes to the flushing outside of the house. Originally had 1.5 because that's what comes on the pump. Well, I should have looked ahead of time. So that's first keynote is that if you have a 1 1/4 instead of 1.5, you might need to get a reducer, something like that. So the pump is all pre-assembled. Yes, that's all nice, just for redundancy and because our ball valve that we have in our current sump pump is so loud and so noisy, and it takes some of the pressure off the pump from that 6 to 7 foot pipe and the water coming back. I did add an additional check valve just to save some wear and tear on the pump. I got everything laid out as far as I can see it. The one big next step I have is checking the power to the outlet for my sump pump room. Only has power going to one of the outlets, the top one. It does not have power going to the bottom, so I have to have one of my buddies who's an electrical guy come out and take a peek because I don't do electrical stuff. I can turn off the breakers in the breaker box, but I'm not going to start messing around with wires and shit. So once I get power to that, this will probably be a tomorrow morning install now instead of tonight before work, and we'll see how that goes. This is the old sump pump. There was, like I imagined, there was quite a lot of water in this out pipe. Quite a bit. A lot of pressure, a lot of water spraying everywhere. That's the old one. And what I went ahead and did is unplugged it, took the cover off, unplugged the pipe, and I had to weasel the cover off and the wire through that. And then I've been using my trusty, there's all that crap in there. My crusty, wet dry shop vac, just a small little guy, to suck out all the water and all the clay and sand and rocks in the bottom. You'd be surprised how much crap is done in the closet. This is our pit. No, they did not have bricks down there. They had a paver, I believe. What was that, octagon, pentagon, whatever shape. We also have a radon system. So getting the pipe in and through that cover is something you might not have to deal with as much. Ours is actually positioned more like this. So that radon pipe goes straight through. Here's the bottom part of the connector. And then the outlet goes here, the 1 1/4 inch outlet. And I did have to notch right here for the new cords that are coming out. They had a small notch here for the original power cord just for the regular sump pump. But with all the cords and the use of both of these outlets now, got this bottom one working yesterday. Thank you. I'm gonna have to do that. Now, once all this is said and done, one important thing to remember is that radon systems are supposed to be sealed. This was not really quite sealed all that properly to be effective. And you can tell that they tried to glue that into place or at least kind of mitigate some of that. So when all this is said and done and installed and I'm confident that everything's working again, I'm gonna cover this up with plastic and tape it off real good. So here's the sump pit. You can see how much water is already still coming in there. Really what I'm doing while I'm doing all this sump pump removal and installation of the new Watchdog basement Watchdog combo with the battery backup as I'm filling up this battery with the battery acid. Per the instructions, read the instructions. It's not that scary. It's not that hard. Trust me. If I can do it, and I'm a pretty retarded guy sometimes, you can do it just fine. Wear gloves, wear safety glasses, follow the directions. Important note on this battery installation for the basement Watchdog. Filling it up with the acid. They say in the instructions to, if you get the battery box, to fill it up inside the battery box. Now, the problem with that is it's a black battery box and you can't really see. So what I went ahead and did is I set it in the sunshine here so you can kind of see the upper and lower level limits. And I'm not sure if this is on video all that well, but if you give it just a little toss, you can see the water level moving. So you know that you're on all of the cells, on all 6 cells, at least on this big battery, that they're nice and full. Got the yellow cap installed for the fluid level monitor, and that's the one gripe that I did have, is that when you get the regular basement Watchdog combo, they don't give you a battery box. If you get the big boy, they give you the big battery box is included in that. Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards doesn't even carry basement Watchdog, but none of them actually sell the battery box separately, so I'm gonna have to order that online. That's my only gripe so far, is that it didn't come with the battery box. Kind of pisses me off a little bit. Alright, so it looks like a hairy mess, and of course it is, but the new sump pump is installed underneath the floor plate. I have not connected it. Well, I did connect the battery and I've disconnected it because I'm having trouble, of course, initially, with my primary pump float activator. The first float, the lower float, doesn't seem to work. The second float does, just by manual operation. The backup battery sump pump seems to work. It doesn't seem like it kicks out a whole lot of water, but we'll see what happens here if I can figure out. Being that it's Saturday afternoon, of course, Watchdog customer service number is not open Monday through Friday 9 to 5. Thanks again. It's the other part I've had issues with, other than the not including the battery box, which sucks. Had a couple leaks in my piping connections. I just tightened everything up with more than just a screwdriver with the 8mm. I actually used a little wrench. And I'm having trouble with the primary float pump installed. That again is the radon tube. The backup sump pump is the yellow one, and the primary pump is this big white guy. Trying to figure out here, over on this side, that is the float. And the float down there, hi sweetheart, that float is supposed to work, and we'll see here in about half an inch of water. Yeah, you can help, sweetheart, you just can't jump in the hole, okay? And I'll show you that it doesn't work, and then I'll show you manual operation. You can see the pump is down here. This is just a colored pencil. This is the float. This is through the 2 pumps, or the 2 outlets for the drain. This float is the first primary float, and then there's a second one on top of it. You can see that one right up here. And just to show you, see if I can get a better angle here.
Ollie.
No Ollie.
Okay, sit. Okay, sit. Okay, sit. Ooh, but. Oh. I love it.
It doesn't do anything. You lift it up.
Oh.
This is supposed to activate the pump. Now, if you hit the secondary one, which is above that, that's the way it's supposed to work. With this bottom switch, does not work. So, I'm gonna contact Watchdog. Yeah, are you scared? I know. It's a scary big pump in there. Okay. Alright, FedEx just showed up. It is, what is it now? Thursday. So almost a week after I initially installed it. The sump pump has been working really good. But this is what I was talking about. So this is the replacement part that Basement Watchdog just sent out to me. This is the dual float controller, or the dual float switch. The bottom one wasn't working, and I'm not sure what the issue was in that, but they just sent me a whole new unit. Kind of weird how it just doesn't work, and I'm not sure if this is a refab or this is a brand new one. It seems to be brand new, but you can never really tell with these things. So instead of taking the whole pump and everything back out and messing around with the pipes, I'm just going to try to, based on the installation instructions, loosen this little hose clamp up, slip the old unit out, slip the new unit in, and see the old unit. All I did need was the was it the 8mm nut driver, or if you got a socket and a screwdriver, or just a socket wrench. So 8mm, I did find out too that at the bottom there was a zip tie attached that went through the cage, and I was kind of thinking that might have been some of my problem if that float was running into that zip tie. But regardless, I sucked a whole lot of water out before I got started here, and it's going to take a while to fill this thing back up. I'm damn sure not going to bring a hose and fill up this pump when there's already so much water coming in here all the time. You can see how much water on both of those holes. So it'll take another, usually it's been about 20 to 30 minutes on the average for this thing to fill back up. So we'll see if it's operable with a brand new float switch. I want to say thanks to Basement Watchdog, but at the same time I'm kind of leery because I'm not sure if this is going to fix it. So we'll see. Before I even hook up the backup battery sump pump and install the battery back on, I want to make sure that this works. Yay, success! Well, there's a big sigh of relief.